Okay, everybody, we are in the last part of the last section of the book, part 4, and it's titled Celebrity, and chapter 13 is in the point of view of Mary. I've always been very private about my polygamous lifestyle. Growing up, I went to a school run by our church, which means during my childhood, I had a few friends outside of my faith. As I grew older, I had few friends outside my faith. As I grew older, I met more people from outside my religious community, but I was still quite guarded about my family's beliefs. I kept my friends at a distance and didn't open up to them about my father and his wives. I always offered to hang out with my friends at their houses, never invited them home with me. I kept my beliefs a secret because I wanted to be accepted as a normal person, whatever that means. Essentially, I didn't want to be stereotyped. I wanted my friends to accept me for me and not reject me based on my faith. After I married Cody, who is so naturally outgoing, I still kept my lifestyle to myself. It wasn't something I was comfortable sharing. I worried about how my friends would react when I came out to them as a polygamist. I didn't want to invite unneeded scrutiny. I didn't want to be judged. Since polygamy is not just frowned upon but designated, you never know how someone will react when you tell him or her the truth about your beliefs. You never know when you are going to lose a close friend. For years, it just seemed better to stay quiet. After Janelle and Christine joined the family, we would explain each other as sisters. Hold on, Janelle and Christine joined the family, we would explain each other as sisters or Cody's sisters. It was always so uncomfortable to lie to my friends. Lying is not part of our faith, nor part of my moral compass. So, to feel as if I had to lie, or at least not tell the full truth, was quite difficult for me. Unfortunately, we felt keeping the truth hidden about our family was necessary. A necessity. Growing up, I heard many stories of fathers in polygamous families who were sent to jail for their beliefs. I heard about children taken from their families and wives sent to live in different states in an attempt to preserve the spiritual family structure. Once Cody, Janelle, Christine, and I had kids, we didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize our family. We needed to stay together, even if it meant hiding the truth about our lifestyle. Nothing was going to split up our family. A lot of polygamists prefer to live in small, close communities where nearly all of the residents are of the same faith. These communities, which are actually fully functional towns, have businesses and stores. Some may even have their own zip codes. There is a school and, of course, a church. Since everyone shares the same beliefs, it's simple to be open about the polygamous lifestyle. I never lived in a community like this either before or since my marriage. For years, we hid in plain sight. It's a testimony to how, and I hesitate to use the word normal we are, that not many people suspected there was anything different about our family. We worked, we had friends outside our faith, we participated in civic life. For many years, I tried to not technically lie. I always try to answer questions in a way that might make me not feel so guilty. But I was still honest, this is a hard game to play. You always have to remember who you are told what to. It was always difficult for me to deny the truth about myself and my family. Lying about our lifestyle transformed something we believed to be so beautiful and sacred into a dirty little secret. Something that people might think I was ashamed of. It was exhausting and frustrating. The year before we decided to participate in Sister Wives, a very good friend of mine with whom I'd worked for a few years invited me to his wedding. Scott and his fiancée, who were both LDS, were planning to get married in the Mormon temple. In the LDS faith, the temple is a very sacred place, and the only people who enter are devout members of the faith who follow specific guidelines. Since we are not members of the LDS faith, the temple would be off limits to us. Cody and I would be unable to witness the ceremony. Since there is considerable overlap of beliefs between my faith and the LDS faith, Scott always assumed that I was a conventual Mormon and never bothered to correct him. Naturally, when he invited Cody and me to the wedding, he never imagined he was breaking a fundamental rule of his faith. Cody had been suggesting for quite some time that I open up to Scott about my family and my faith. I was just too concerned about losing a friend, so I just wasn't willing to do it. Told Cody I was just going to make an excuse to Scott and say we couldn't make it. Because Scott and I had become such good friends, Cody felt that Scott deserved to know the truth about why we couldn't attend his wedding, not just blowing him off saying we couldn't make it. He was very empathetic now that we needed to tell Scott the truth. Cody and I arranged a dinner with Scott and his fiancée. I was really nervous. I had no idea how Scott would react. My worries were twofold. On the one hand, I was worried that Scott would reject me for my beliefs. And on the other hand, I was worried he would be angry that I'd lied to him for so long. Over dinner, Cody managed to steer the conversation around to how Scott and his wife met, and after he heard their story, he shared ours. Cody told them that when he returned from his LDS mission, he fell in love with a woman whose father had 5 wives. It took Scott a minute to realize that Cody was talking about me. When Scott caught on, we explained that we had embraced my father's faith as well, and were practicing members of the faith, with a much larger family than Scott had ever imagined. When Cody and I were done speaking, Scott was silent for a moment, then he began to apologize. He apologized for putting me in such a difficult position by inviting me to a wedding I couldn't attend. He apologized if at any time during our friendship he might have made a remark about polygamy that was insensitive. I thought it was said so much about Scott's character to be the one apologizing when I was the one really needing to apologize for him for not being honest about who I really was. Even though we couldn't attend the ceremony in the temple, we still went to Scott's wedding reception. I felt honored that Scott considered me such a close friend that he would invite me to his temple wedding. I was so relieved that our friendship was still intact after opening up about my family and our beliefs. Since Scott and his wife have met and accepted our entire family, and even once appeared briefly on an episode of Sister Wives. I think I know what episode. Incidents like this were frequent in our lives. I think our entire family was starting to feel that in order to live our lives to the fullest, we needed to make some changes. Cody is a dreamer, which is one of the qualities I love about him. He tends to reach for the stars, and in doing so can come up with some pretty amazing ideas. During our 22 years together, I've learned to listen to his ideas and realize that while some are great and we can make them happen, some can be less than realistic, and we need to allow them to fall by the wayside.